Picture two men standing at the edge of tomorrow. One chases fleeting sparks, seeking validation in grand gestures and calculated displays of emotion. The other has discovered something profound. He has found love that doesn't just warm the heart, but reshapes the very architecture of his existence. We live in a world obsessed with surface-level attraction, missing the profound silent language of deep masculine motivation. Many believe a man's life changes due to external pressure or sudden dramatic events. We overlook the subtle, intricate reorganization of his entire motivational structure around another's presence. Society conditions us to look for the wrong signals, to interpret deep soul-level calls as mere attraction. This mindset keeps us perpetually reaching, always chasing a future self that remains just out of reach. The gap between what we think love is and what it actually does creates a chasm where authentic connection disappears. Both men and women remain confused, wondering why deep change feels so elusive. But imagine being the conscious architect of your own magnificent temple. Every thought, every word, every deliberate action becomes a sacred stone laid with unwavering intention. Your story transforms from one of mere survival into a testament of profound purpose and enduring peace. This is where love becomes a transformative force that creates rather than diminishes, expands rather than limits, motivates rather than drains. The path forward requires three foundational pillars of action. Each demands courage, consistency, and unshakable commitment to our higher selves. First, we must cultivate authentic self-possession. The catalyst for deep change in a man often emanates from a woman profoundly centered in her own truth. She stops fragmenting herself to fit others' expectations and focuses on what she has to give. She considers if others are good enough for her, rather than if she is good enough for them. This unwavering commitment to authentic self activates what Carl Jung called the anima in a man. The feminine aspect of his soul triggers devotion so powerful it makes him psychologically restructure his entire existence. This isn't manipulation, but the quiet authority of integrity and wholeness. It allows a man to see not just a woman, but the path to his own completeness. A powerful tech mogul completely revolutionized his approach to life and love. He witnessed a woman choosing herself with such archetypal authority that it awakened something primal in his unconscious mind. Her self-possession became the profound trigger for his transformation. Second, we embrace intentional presence and honest communication. A woman's true impact lies not in performance, but in her authentic way of being and speaking. People, especially men, are unconsciously programmed to treat us exactly as well as we treat ourselves. Her presence becomes a catalyst for personal development when she makes him feel like the best version of himself. She represents an exciting future he wants to live. This involves speaking truth with clarity and kindness, even when her voice trembles. It means listening deeply, valuing understanding over mere performance. Her words, resonating from truth and empathy, become an invitation for growth. They inspire him to explore and integrate aspects of himself he had never been encouraged to develop. This creates magnetic presence that draws him in, not through manipulation, but because her energy field creates a resonance of possibility. It activates his dormant potential. Third, we recognize and honor the restructuring of purpose. When true love awakens, a man's deepest motivational time frame fundamentally shifts. He stops living for himself alone. His drive, goals, and very sense of purpose, begin restructuring around her presence. This isn't diminishment of ambition, but expansion. His independence deepens into something larger, naturally bending future goals toward shared meaning and her presence. This temporal restructuring moves him from linear motivation focused on immediate gratification to cyclical and expansive thinking. He considers experiences to share, memories to create, traditions to establish. He begins speaking in terms of we instead of I. His protective instinct expands beyond physical safety to encompass her peace of mind, her growth, and the bond itself. This profound integration means his devotion to one woman strengthens his connection to all. Personal love evolves into deeper sense of community. We stand at a precipice of possibility. The love we yearn for is not a distant, abstract concept. It is being forged in the quiet crucible of our everyday choices. It emerges from the profound, often unseen alignment of our souls. We are not passive spectators in this unfolding drama. We are the active creators, the conscious architects of our own becoming. We shape the connections that elevate us all. The call for deep, transformative love rings not from a distant mountaintop. It echoes from the deepest valleys of our souls, an insistent rhythm for renewal and growth. Yet we must not fall victim to the brain bubble of fleeting excitement. Grand resolutions dissolve like champagne foam if not backed by consistent, humble effort. The promise of enduring love, connection so deep it reshapes a man's entire life, is only realized through purposeful work of today. The world does not need more echoes. It needs authentic voices, clear and true. Voices built on solid foundation of inner integrity and unwavering action. Our individual journeys are not isolated. Every time we choose authenticity over approval, truth over comfort, growth over stagnation, we contribute to massive cultural transformation. We help heal the split between who we are and who we pretend to be. We inspire others to seek the same profound depth in their own lives. This is the love that transforms, the fire that purifies, the covenant that binds. This covenant, this steadfast commitment to our highest selves and to truly seeing one another, empowers us to rise above currents of doubt and tides of fear. It guides us toward the radiant shores of our truest potential. It is the force that transforms pain into power, turning our deepest struggles into sources of profound strength and moral intelligence. Not for anger, but for building what is right, building what lasts. We embrace the discipline to act in spite of resistance. Each small step, each quiet choice, chips away at old narratives that once held us captive. Our mission is not to seek applause, but to embody truth. Our lives become living sermons, demonstrating what is possible when a spirit refuses to outsource its power. We stand as lions in the desert, strong and silent. This is the love that transforms, the fire that purifies, the covenant that binds. This is the path to unshakable inner strength. A quiet certainty that endures when the world around us shakes. It is courage to speak up for ourselves, for our needs, for our values, even when our voice trembles. Silence, if chosen out of fear, becomes a prison that keeps us from opportunities. This is a long game, not for temporary sparks, but for enduring impact. A legacy etched not in fleeting fame, but in transformed hearts and minds of those we touch. A legacy that preaches long after we have left the room. It is power that emanates from within, from being lit by conviction, clarity, and something so internal that no crisis can extinguish it. This is the love that transforms, the fire that purifies, the covenant that binds. Let us stand tall, unwavering in our commitment to grow, to learn, to serve, to evolve. For in this sacred act of building, we do not merely change our own lives. We change the world, one truthful word, one disciplined action, one silent, powerful habit at a time, for the elevation of all humanity, creating a ripple effect that extends far beyond our individual sight. Starting today, let us plant seeds of enduring transformation with specific intentional habits, both as individuals and in how we approach our most profound relationships. The first step begins with radical self-respect. Begin each day by asking, what does my deepest self want to create today? Then act on that inner knowing, not on external validation. Set clear boundaries with your time, energy, and emotional space. Say no to anything that diminishes your worth without apology. Remember, your presence is a gift, not a currency. When we honor ourselves in this way, we create space for authentic connection. We stop giving from emptiness and start sharing from fullness. This shift in energy is palpable to others, especially to those we seek to love deeply. The second essential practice is intentional presence and deep listening. When interacting with others, especially a partner, consciously slow your responses by one breath. Replace the urge to diagnose with courage to wonder. Ask, what do you need most right now, and then truly listen. Speak your truth with clarity and kindness. Understand that your words carry weight and can invite connection by encountering truth, not just performing sameness. In a world full of surface-level exchanges, authentic communication becomes a rare and precious gift. When we listen with genuine presence, we create sacred space, space where another person can be fully seen and heard. This quality of attention is transformative for both giver and receiver. It moves us beyond the superficial dance of trying to impress or be impressed. Instead, we enter the realm of genuine intimacy, where souls can touch and grow together. This is where the magic of mutual becoming takes place. The third practice involves cultivating a we mindset for growth. Consciously shift your language and perspective from solely I to we when thinking about your future, goals, and experiences. For men, this means actively incorporating shared experiences, memories, and traditions into long-term planning, moving from linear to cyclical motivation. For women, it means recognizing and valuing this profound shift as a sign of deep commitment and transformation, rather than dismissing it as casual affection. This shift represents one of the most significant indicators that love is doing its transformative work. When a man begins to think in terms of we, his entire neural architecture is reorganizing. His dreams expand to include another. His security becomes intertwined with hers. His legacy becomes their legacy. The fourth practice is protecting the sacred space for mutual becoming. Just as one would protect creative time, make a conscious pact to honor each other's individual growth and shared purpose daily. This means actively supporting a partner's risks, explorations, and becoming, creating an environment where fairness thrives and integrity is upheld. This isn't about rescuing or abandoning, but mutual support that encourages growth, lived in real time. We become gardeners of each other's potential, tending to the soil where dreams can take root and flourish. The fifth and final practice is daily reflection and realignment. At the end of each day, take a few minutes to honestly assess your actions and intentions. Ask yourself, did my choices today reflect the person I want to become and the love I want to cultivate? This consistent practice of self-honesty without judgment allows for subtle course correction. It strengthens the internal alignment that fuels true transformation. Like a sailor checking the stars, we must regularly calibrate our inner compass. This is the love that transforms, the fire that purifies, the covenant that binds. These practices are not mere suggestions, but essential disciplines for anyone serious about experiencing and creating transformative love. They require commitment, patience, and the willingness to grow even when growth feels uncomfortable. They demand that we show up consistently, not just when we feel like it, but the rewards are immeasurable. When we commit to these practices, we become people worthy of the profound love we seek. We create magnetic presence that naturally attracts depth and authenticity. We stop chasing love and start embodying it. We cease being victims of circumstance and become conscious creators of connection. This shift from seeking to being, from needing to giving, from performing to authenticity, changes everything. The love that emerges from this foundation is not dependent on external circumstances. It doesn't waver with moods or fluctuate with feelings. It becomes a steady flame that warms not just ourselves, but everyone who comes near. This is the love that can indeed reshape a man's entire existence, not through manipulation or strategy, but through the sheer power of authentic wholeness, meeting authentic wholeness. When two complete people choose to grow together, the result is exponential rather than additive. Consider the profound difference between neediness and wholeness in love. Neediness says, I am incomplete without you. Please fill this void in my life. Wholeness says, I am complete within myself, and I choose to share this completeness with you. The energy behind these two approaches creates entirely different outcomes. Neediness creates pressure, anxiety, and ultimately repels the very connection it seeks. Wholeness creates magnetic attraction, peace, and draws others toward its light. This is why self-possession is so crucial in creating transformative love. When a woman embodies radical self-respect, she becomes a living invitation for a man to step into his highest potential. Not because she demands it, but because her energy naturally calls forth excellence. She represents a standard of authenticity that inspires growth rather than fear. This creates what psychologists call secure attachment. Both people feel safe to be vulnerable, to grow, to make mistakes, and to evolve together. There's no walking on eggshells, no constant performance anxiety, no fear of abandonment. Instead, there's trust that the relationship can weather storms because it's built on solid individual foundations. Each person knows they can stand alone if necessary, which paradoxically allows them to choose togetherness from strength rather than weakness. This is the soil in which transformative love flourishes. The man who experiences this kind of love finds his entire motivational structure reorganizing, not because he's been manipulated or coerced, but because he's encountered something so genuine and whole that it awakens his own dormant potential. He begins to see possibilities for himself he never imagined. His goals expand beyond personal achievement to include shared meaning and purpose. His definition of success broadens to encompass not just what he accomplishes, but who he becomes in relationship. His timeline shifts from short-term gratification to long-term building and legacy creation. This is the love that transforms, the fire that purifies, the covenant that binds. But transformation is not always comfortable. Growth requires shedding old patterns, beliefs, and behaviors that no longer serve. It means confronting parts of ourselves we'd rather keep hidden. The man experiencing transformative love may initially resist these changes. Part of him recognizes that his old way of being is insufficient for the level of connection being offered. Yet another part clings to familiar patterns, even if they're limiting. This internal tension is natural and necessary. It's the friction that creates the pressure needed for genuine transformation. Like a diamond forming under immense pressure, character is forged through challenge. The woman who catalyzes this transformation must have patience and wisdom. She cannot force the process or demand specific outcomes. Her role is to maintain her own center while creating space for his growth. She trusts the process, knowing that authentic change cannot be rushed or controlled. She continues to embody the qualities that sparked his transformation in the first place. Her consistency becomes the steady lighthouse, guiding him through turbulent waters of change. Meanwhile, he must do the inner work required for genuine transformation. This means facing his fears, examining his beliefs, and choosing growth over comfort repeatedly. It means developing new habits, new ways of thinking, new ways of being in relationship. The process is not linear. There will be setbacks, moments of doubt, times when old patterns resurface. But if both people remain committed to growth, these challenges become opportunities for deeper connection. They learn to navigate difficulties together, supporting each other's evolution while maintaining their individual integrity. They discover that love is not just a feeling, but a practice, a discipline, a daily choice to show up authentically. This is where relationship becomes a spiritual path, a vehicle for mutual becoming. This is the love that transforms, the fire that purifies, the covenant that binds. The ripple effects of transformative love extend far beyond the two people directly involved. When a man undergoes this profound restructuring of his motivational universe, it impacts every area of his life. His relationship with work changes as he seeks not just financial success, but meaningful contribution. His friendships deepen as he becomes more emotionally available and authentic. His relationship with family evolves as he embodies new models of masculine strength. Strength that includes vulnerability, emotional intelligence, and collaborative leadership. He becomes a different kind of father, brother, son, and friend. The woman who embodies authentic self-possession also creates waves of positive influence. Other women observe her clarity and courage, inspiring them to examine their own relationships with self-respect. Men in her circle witness a new model of feminine strength that challenges and elevates their understanding. Together, they become examples of what's possible when two whole people choose conscious partnership. Their relationship becomes a beacon of hope in a world often cynical about love's transformative power. They prove that profound connection is not just fairy tale fantasy, but achievable reality. This is why the work of cultivating transformative love is not selfish, but deeply generous. Every person who commits to authentic self-development and conscious relationship creates positive change that extends far beyond their personal sphere. They contribute to the healing of collective wounds around love, trust, and human connection. But this level of impact requires unwavering commitment to the practices we've discussed. Radical self-respect cannot be sporadic or conditional. It must become a way of life, a non-negotiable foundation from which all choices emerge. Intentional presence and honest communication must become habitual, not occasional. The practice of deep listening must extend beyond romantic relationship to all human interactions. The commitment to truth-telling must persist even when truth feels uncomfortable or inconvenient. The cultivation of a we mindset requires constant vigilance against the ego's tendency to revert to purely self-centered thinking. It means choosing collaboration over competition, even when competitive impulses feel natural. It means considering the impact of our choices on the relationship, not just on our individual desires. Protecting the sacred space for mutual becoming demands fierce boundaries around time, energy, and attention. In a world full of distractions and demands, we must guard the conditions that allow deep connection to flourish. This means saying no to activities, people, and opportunities that drain rather than nourish our capacity for love. Daily reflection and realignment requires the humility to honestly assess our progress without self-judgment or defensiveness. It means celebrating growth while acknowledging areas that still need attention. It means staying curious about our patterns rather than fixed in our self-concepts. This is the love that transforms, the fire that purifies, the covenant that binds. The path is not easy, but it is simple. The practices are straightforward, but the consistency required is demanding. The rewards are extraordinary, but they cannot be rushed or manufactured. Like tending a garden, creating transformative love requires patience, dedication, and faith in processes we cannot fully control. We plant seeds, provide proper conditions, and trust in the mysterious alchemy of growth. We show up daily, not because we see immediate results, but because we're committed to the long-term vision. Some days the work feels effortless and joyful. Other days it requires gritting our teeth and choosing growth over comfort. Both kinds of days are necessary for the full flowering of transformative love. The key is remembering that we're not just creating better relationships for ourselves, we're participating in the healing and evolution of love itself. We're contributing to a future where authentic connection is the norm, rather than the exception. Every time we choose authenticity over performance, presence over distraction, growth over stagnation, we cast a vote for the kind of world we want to live in. Every time we embody radical self-respect and intentional communication, we model possibilities for others. Every time we commit to the practices that create transformative love, we become part of the solution to humanity's deepest longing. The journey toward transformative love often begins with a moment of recognition, a sudden awareness that the patterns we've been following are not serving our deepest desires, a glimpse of what becomes possible when we stop settling for surface-level connection, a flash of understanding that we are capable of so much more than we've been experiencing. This moment of recognition is both gift and responsibility. Once we see the possibility of transformative love, we cannot unsee it. We become accountable for choosing growth or remaining in familiar limitations. The choice is always ours, but it's not always easy. Growth requires leaving comfort zones, facing fears, and releasing identities that feel safe but keep us small. It demands that we become people we've never been before, which can feel terrifying and exhilarating simultaneously. Yet this is precisely where the magic happens. In the space between who we've been and who we're becoming, transformation takes root. In the tension between comfort and growth, character is forged. For the man experiencing this restructuring of his motivational universe, the journey often involves releasing outdated models of masculinity, models that equate strength with emotional unavailability, success with dominance, and love with conquest. He must learn new ways of being strong that include tenderness, vulnerability, and collaborative power. This doesn't mean becoming weak or passive. Rather, it means accessing a fuller spectrum of human capacity. It means discovering that true strength includes the courage to feel deeply, communicate honestly, and prioritize relationship alongside achievement. For the woman embodying authentic self-possession, the journey often involves releasing patterns of self-abandonment learned early in life, patterns that equate love with self-sacrifice, worth with perfection, and safety with invisibility. She must learn to take up space, express needs clearly, and maintain boundaries without guilt. This doesn't mean becoming selfish or demanding. Rather, it means honoring her wholeness as a necessary foundation for healthy relationship. It means understanding that self-respect is not vanity, but wisdom, and that her happiness matters as much as anyone else's. Both journeys require support, patience, and compassion for the inevitable stumbles along the way. Neither person can transform in isolation. They need each other's witness, encouragement, and gentle accountability as they grow into new ways of being. This mutual support creates a positive feedback loop. As each person grows, they inspire and support the other's growth. As the relationship deepens, it becomes a container strong enough to hold even greater transformation. The result is not just better communication or fewer conflicts, though these benefits naturally emerge. The result is two people becoming more fully themselves while also becoming something greater together. Individual growth and relational intimacy amplify each other in an upward spiral of mutual becoming. This is the love that transforms, the fire that purifies, the covenant that binds. But remember, transformation is not a destination, but a continuous process. There is no point at which we can declare ourselves finished growing or our relationship complete. Love that truly transforms remains dynamic, alive, and evolving throughout our lives. This means embracing what Zen teachers call beginner's mind, approaching our relationship with fresh eyes, curious about what new layers of depth might be discovered, remaining open to surprise, to challenge, to the unexpected gifts that come through continued growth. It means releasing the need to have everything figured out. Instead of trying to control outcomes, we learn to trust the process of mutual becoming. We focus on showing up authentically and let the results take care of themselves. This requires deep faith, not in any particular outcome, but in the value of growth itself. Faith that becoming more authentic, more present, more capable of love is worthwhile regardless of specific results. Faith that the universe supports those who choose consciousness over unconsciousness, growth over stagnation. Such faith is not passive but active. It expresses itself through daily choices to practice the disciplines we've discussed. It manifests as commitment to continue growing even when growth feels difficult or uncertain. As we conclude this exploration of transformative love, remember that every ending is also a beginning. The insights shared here are not meant to be consumed passively, but to be lived actively. They are invitations to experiment, to practice, to discover what becomes possible when we commit to conscious relationship. They are doorways to experiences that cannot be fully understood intellectually, but must be embodied to be known. The love that transforms is not reserved for a special few. It is available to anyone willing to do the inner work required. It awaits those brave enough to choose authenticity over approval, presence over performance, growth over comfort. Yet it requires more than good intentions or temporary motivation. It demands the kind of commitment that persists through difficulty, doubt, and the inevitable resistance that accompanies real change. It asks for the long view, the patient cultivation, the daily devotion to becoming. This is the love that transforms, the fire that purifies, the covenant that binds. This covenant is not made once but renewed continuously through our choices. Every time we choose radical self-respect over people-pleasing, we honor the covenant. Every time we practice intentional presence over distraction, we strengthen the covenant. Every time we embrace the we mindset over pure self-interest, we deepen the covenant. Every time we protect sacred space for mutual becoming, we sanctify the covenant. Every time we engage in honest self-reflection and course correction, we renew the covenant. These are not grand gestures, but quiet daily practices that accumulate into profound transformation over time. Like water gradually carving canyons through solid rock, consistent conscious choices reshape the landscape of our lives. What seems impossible becomes inevitable when we align our actions with our deepest intentions. The world desperately needs examples of what transformative love looks like in practice. In an era of increasing disconnection and superficial relating, conscious partnership becomes a radical act. Those who commit to this path become beacons of possibility for others lost in the darkness of unconscious relating. Your personal growth is never just personal. Your commitment to authentic self-possession gives others permission to claim their own wholeness. Your practice of intentional presence creates ripples of consciousness that extend far beyond your immediate relationships. Your willingness to embrace the restructuring of purpose from individual to shared meaning models a new way of being human. Your dedication to protecting sacred space from mutual becoming demonstrates what's possible when two people choose growth over comfort. Your commitment to daily reflection and realignment shows others the path of conscious evolution. This is how the world changes, one relationship at a time, one choice at a time, one moment of consciousness at a time. This is how we heal the collective wounds around love, trust, and human connection. This is how we create a future where transformative love is not the exception, but the expectation. But it begins with you, with this moment, with the choice to embody what you've heard. Not perfectly, not all at once, but consistently, with patience for the process and faith in the possibility. Not because transformation is easy, but because it is necessary, valuable, and ultimately joyful. The practices await your engagement. Radical self-respect asks for your commitment. Intentional presence and honest communication invites your participation. The cultivation of a we mindset calls for your expansion. The protection of sacred space from mutual becoming requires your vigilance. Daily reflection and realignment depend on your dedication. This is the love that transforms, the fire that purifies, the covenant that binds. Begin today. Begin with one practice, one choice, one moment of conscious relating. Trust that small beginnings can lead to profound endings. Trust that your commitment to transformation will be met by grace, support, and synchronicities that confirm you're on the right path. Trust that as you become more authentic, you will naturally attract others who appreciate and support your growth. Trust that the love you seek is also seeking you, and that your preparation creates the conditions for its arrival. The love that transforms awaits your readiness. The fire that purifies is already burning within you. The covenant that binds is offered in every moment of conscious choice. Step forward with courage, with curiosity, with commitment to the highest possibilities of human connection. The world is waiting for the love you're capable of creating. The time for transformative love is now.